Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, Mr. Aman Bey, the first person who assisted. Now, Susan assisted as well. If it wasn't for her, the video wouldn't have gone up. Mr. Aman Bey would not have heard and would not have provided. So thank both of you. And the rest of you who made an effort, thank you. And the reason why I say thank you, the rest of you who made an effort, because that means that you're willing to put forth an effort. You're not willing to just sit back and rely on everyone else. Ain't that right, Anita? That's Anita saying no more tears. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can't hear it in my voice, I am exhausted, but I wanted to make sure that the rest of you knew that there was no need for the rest of you to go ahead and pull the record. Now, if you do want to get a copy of this, give you the page number. This is page number 3. First session, and I don't know what RES stands for. PCP! No, that doesn't stand for respect. Okay. 93rd Congress, first session. And I don't believe this is page 3, but that is Roman numeral 3. But again, this is the forward. I need you all to pay attention. You see, this is the forward for this report. And this was the report to the Senate regarding the proclamations by the president. When you say you're leaving and you walk out that door, sorry, I love this song, this part right here. This is Anita, ladies and gentlemen. And this woman can sing. No more tears, Anita. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a little bit of reading. Since March 9, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared emergency. In fact, there are now in effect 4 presidential proclamations, states of national emergency. In addition to the national emergency, declared by President Roosevelt in 1933, there are also the national emergencies proclaimed by President Truman on December 16, 1950, the Korean conflict, and the state of national emergency declared by President Nixon on March 23, 1970, and August 15, 1971. These proclamations, all of them inclusive, gave forth the force to 470 provisions of federal laws. These hundreds of statutes delegate to the president extraordinary powers ordinarily exercised by Congress, which affect the lives of American citizens in a host of all-encompassing manners. This vast range of powers taken together confer enough authority to rule this country without reference to normal congressional process, which is the reason for them holding this session of Congress, bringing this report. Under the powers delegated by these statutes, pay attention, the president may seize property, organize and control the means of production, seize commodities, assign military forces abroad, institute martial law, seize and control all transportation and communication. Agenda 21, regulate the operation of private enterprise. Remember, the president signed Agenda 21 without Congress. Agenda 21. Anyway, restrict travel and a plethora of particular ways control the lives of all American citizens. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. That's called martial law. Anyway, with the melting of the Cold War and developing detonate with the Soviet Union and China, the stable truce for over 20 years duration between North and South Korea, it's still, the militarized zone still working, and the end of the United States involvement in the war in Indochina, there is no present need for the United States government to continue to function under emergency conditions. They were saying that the emergency was over. That's a lie. Remember, they got rid of everything else except the proclamations by Truman. The Special Committee on the Termination of National Emergency was created to examine the consequences of terminating the declared states of national emergency that now prevail. See, in terminating the consequences for doing so, they left the bankruptcy in place to recommend what steps the Congress should take to ensure that the terminations can be accomplished without adverse effects upon the necessary task of government, and also to recommend ways in which the United States can meet future emergency situations with speed and effectiveness, but without relinquishing congressional oversight and control. Excuse me? You don't have congressional oversight over the Act of March 9, 1933, the Trading with the Enemies Act, as it was amended. In accordance with the mandate of the Special Committee and in conjunction with the executive branch, exert constitutional authorities as well as former high officials of this government is now engaged, blah, blah, blah. So now you guys have it out of Congress's own mouth. Now remember, anybody who argues that this Congress got rid of the so-called emergency of President Roosevelt's proclamation, ladies and gentlemen, this was so that you all could have proof, because it's in the pudding. Let's go here so we can show it to you. Love wins again. I changed my heart to take some time and take care of me. But I turned around and you're standing here. Not going to do that to y'all. Come on, screen. I'm doing the touch screen, but it's not making it larger, y'all. All right, we're just going to read it. This is the law that they terminated to terminate certain authorities with respect to national emergency still in effect. Certain ones. They didn't terminate all of them. Certain ones. Notice what they said. The provisions of this act shall not apply to the following provisions of law: the powers and authorities conferred thereby and actions taken thereunder, section 15B of the Act of October 6, 1917, as amended March 9, 1933. Okay, so let's do that. You guys, I haven't done that yet, so let's do that now. It's not that I can't do research, it's just that there's just too much going on, and I just don't have the time to be sitting up here doing it. Sorry, too many things going on. Love can make you do some crazy things. Hold on, we're going to do TEXT, because I don't feel like just searching. Hey, look at that. You're standing here. Hey, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to download the PDF because I need the PDF. Tell them. That's Deborah, y'all. Deborah Cox. Sorry, you guys. It doesn't like me using my VPN, so it won't let me download that right now. I'll download it later. Nobody. No. It says no VPN. How did you get here? I got here through a VPN. How'd you get here? Okay, sorry. This is not the text one. I went back too far. She tried that love thing over and over and over and over and over. Her heart said, no. Nobody's supposed to be here. I like Deborah. She can sing. I just think that whoever writes this woman's songs don't know what they're doing. Give me a second, you guys. Got a little bit of Ray Charles coming on, and he gonna be singing, none of us are free if only one of us is chained. Hey! What you mean back to safety? This is WW. The site cannot be loaded due to a certificate. What do you mean? They don't want to be loaded because of a certificate. It's the government. Why the government ain't got no certificate? Oh, and look, it says dangerous. You mean to tell me my government is dangerous? Uh-oh. We ain't doing that. Hold on, y'all. Let me go take care of Xfinity. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been doing a little bit of searching of some other things, and it pulled up 504, the Rehabilitation Act. Discrimination against individuals with disabilities and public programs and everything in food and allergies section. Now, I wasn't actually looking for this, and it shouldn't be 1973, but I'm interested to see if 73 talks about 33. You know what I'm saying? Because it talks about under Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1974, providers have a legal duty to insure, and we have another Section 504 of 1976. So I'm interested in the one in 1976, but I don't see it, so I think we okay, because I don't think I think there's another Section 504, as we found earlier today, with another public law being the same one as the Congressional Act and so forth, and so I think there's one of those things. They just pulled it up. Every soul who's suffering, let her go not alone. Hey! That's Ray Charles, everybody. You can tell I was into my music. I'm actually feeling a little bit better right now. Had a little bit of a time to take. So, the first time I heard this song, it was Ray, but Solomon Burke did a version of this song that I was in love with. Okay? See what I say? Now you see the other web browser wouldn't let me go and pull it up. So as you see, I was pulling it up, making some changes. Now it's time we all get around. Okay, hold on, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't usually admit stuff like this, but sometimes even I can do the wrong thing. See, I clicked on this thinking it was the same as this. See, it says 94 public law, but this is 14, this is 112. This one talks about water. Now, it might be important for somebody else, but it ain't important for me right now, and I don't know. See, we're seeing certain budget authority recommended for in the message of the president. Okay, so this ain't the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for that one, and that's why, because this one refers to this one, so that's why this one is here. See, it has 94-112 in there, and it has 94-17. So this is the one I was looking for, y'all. So, Ray Charles, tell us. Making some changes. Oh, get it right. Let the truth shine bright. Uh-oh, not going to be able to pull this one up. I thought I could, y'all. But we ain't got no connection issue. It just don't like it. Oh, well. It don't like the... It doesn't like my so-called internet. Oh, that's what it is. So I got to put y'all on hold one more time. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to literally open this up in 2 different browsers, and it was only after this last browser that it actually opened it up in my, as you see, my PDF Exchange, but not the right one. So we're going to save it because it wouldn't save. So now it's saved. So finally, we have the actual Congressional Act of 1975, October 16th. Okay, see it? We got it now. We didn't have it before, but we got it now. I tried to save it. Let's see if it's saved. Gotta wait for this to pop up. That's what I was waiting on, y'all, and it just wouldn't do it. I guess it didn't like Ray Charles singing about none of us are free. Okay. What are we going to chart? See, it talks about water, so it was similar to the other one. So let's do this. I just put emergency still extant, okay? Because this is what we're looking for in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about, hey, it's the same thing. October 16, 1975. I just need to see where they said extant. By deleting section 1, fiscal year, the words exceeding, welfare, education, secretary, be it enacted. I don't see that in here. Hold on, y'all. Something ain't right because I don't think this is it. This ain't it, y'all. See, we're looking for the section where it actually says what the individual said it said. Now, we do know that we got the information from the attorney on his website where he talked about it and said that they said it was still extant. So there might be an issue here with the provision. Let's get that started again. Get out of here. All right. Which one is this? Oh, this is where I was trying to pull it up in a different browser. Get out of here. This one right here. Okay. See, it says Water Resource Act, amended, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives, but this is the 94th Congress. Oh, it's 1975. It is 1975. It's supposed to be 1975, so let's make sure of that. How do you know? She used to be your girl. Deep down inside, I still love her. We need 1976. So this number here is incorrect. So that's the thing. So watch this. I'll take her back. What do you do? As a matter of fact, by the way, bye today. Okay. Wait. It had it right there. Where'd I see it? It said emergency and I just lost it. Dag nabbit. It had it there. Let's do emergency. Let's say we pull up by just, I didn't mean to put double A for Emergency Act. This is Wikipedia, the National Emergency Act, Public Law 94-112. So we did have the right one. 90 Stat 1255, enacted September, codified. Let's pull up the code, y'all. Look, Wikipedia actually put the code there. So give Wikipedia its credit. Termination of existing and declared emergencies. Look at that. See? Terminating existing declared emergencies, subchapter, and we're looking for section number 5. I'm going to download this. This time it shouldn't have a problem. Hey, policy defense, it's what it says. Deep down inside. Shoot and shoot do. I pray for one another. Shoot do. You know, she was mine. She was all mine. Mine. She used to be. Declaration of national emergency by President, publication in Federal Registry, effect on other laws, superseding legislation. Okay, so this is going to take, but we're looking for, I think they said section number 5. So let's look at section number 5. Existing rulemaking power of the House, full recognition of constitutional rights of either house to change the rules as far as relating to the procedures anytime in the same manner, automatic termination of national emergency, continuation, notice from the President, Congress publication. That's why the President issues a national emergency, letting them know that they're continuing the emergency December 31st at midnight of every year. I know you guys don't even know that, but that's so that you'll know. That's them continuing the national emergency. They do it every year. You've heard people mention it. Now you know the reason why they do it. All my friends, they call me a fool. They say Let the woman take care of you. Well, we know this is the right act because we got September 14th, 1976. Now, what we want to do is, let's do that so that I don't have to guess about what words to put in my search. We need, I want to do this. We're going to do copy. Although there might be another section that might say the same thing. Hey, get out of there. Might be another section that says the same thing. We're going to take our chances. It says it's not found. Still not found, the phrase. So it may not be in this section here, and I think I may know where to find it. Yeah, see, that's the only time it says provisions. Let's see if there's another. Nope, only 3. Girl, I gotta get away from here. Okay, because I don't know where, and I don't know how. Like I said, I was going to go here because this should have what I'm looking for. I just wanted to get the PDF because it was a PDF. Okay. Declaration of future emergencies, exercise of emergency powers and authorities, accessibility, reporting requirements, application of powers and authorities, and other provisions of law and actions taken thereunder. Not there. I think terminating of existing. So let's do terminating of existing. And let's do all powers and authorities possessed by the president and other officers and employees of the federal government or any executive agency as defined in section 105 of Title 5. Title 5? Do you know that's called the Administrative Procedures Act? It's all administrative people. Executive branch is the administrative branch. This is on and on. Gladys Knight and the Pips, y'all. On and on. Getting you to heaven. Okay, sorry. Back in the day, as a result of the existence of declared national emergency in effect on September 14th, 1976, which means it was still in effect or terminated 2 years from 1976. Such termination shall not affect any action taken or proceeding pending, not finally concluded or determined on such dates. Any action proceeding, oh God, they left themselves all kind of wiggle room. For the purpose of this section, the words any national emergency in effect means a general declaration of emergency made by the president. The rights and duties that matured or penalties that are incurred prior to such date, any action proceeding based on any act committed prior to such date, or blah, blah, blah. They left themselves a lot of wiggle room. Okay, so good, I feel the love is real. Okay, banks and banking section. Look, repealing section 249 of Title 12, banks and banking section. Let's see. Crimes and Criminal Procedure of Act Title 42. Let's see. I am looking, ladies and gentlemen. I need to not find this section. This is not the important section. This was just the notes, and I needed to see the notes. Wait, they got Code of Federal Regulations. They cite Code of Federal Regulations as an authority because it's in the Federal Registry. So it becomes law as long as it's in the Federal Registry, and a lot of people do not know that. As long as it's in the Federal Registry, and this is why ignorance of the law is no excuse, because you all are supposed to be reading the Federal Registry. Okay? And that's why Cornell Law is saying, look, the information on this site is not guaranteed to be wholly accurate. They have to do that because you are required to know the law, and if you rely on Cornell Law without that disclaimer, then they could be held liable and you could get off. You don't have to be held accountable for your actions, but they gonna make sure you held accountable, all right? You ain't gonna just be able to get off and just be like, I ain't gotta be held accountable because, you know, Cornell didn't do their job. They ain't gonna let you get away with that. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just trying to find this my way, okay? Declaration of National Emergencies by the President. See, publication in the Federal Registry. So this lets you know, all of you understand something. When I speak, I'm not just speaking off the side of my neck. I speak based on what I know. I don't speak based on what somebody told me. I don't go by what people told me. I hate it when people say things and we end up being wrong. Here it is. Any provision of law conferring powers or authority to be exercised during a national emergency shall be in effect and remain in effect only when the president, in accordance with subsection A of this section, specifically declares a national emergency, and or B, only in accordance with this chapter. No law enacted after September 14, 1976 shall supersede this subchapter unless it does so in specific terms. Do you understand? So the acts that were prior, that are still extant as declared by Congress and the Supreme Court, still remain extant in existence. Okay? And declaring that the new law supersedes the provisions of this subject, it has to be specific. That's why I'm asking all of you to understand, those of you who are legally wise, you have to challenge this particular act by the president in 1933 as unconstitutional because it made clear that it delegated authorities, congressional authorities. Hey, look at that. Now, therefore, I, George W. Bush, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States, hereby declare that the national emergency has existed since September 11, 2001, and pursuant to the National Emergency Act, blah, 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 I intend to utilize the following sections, and these are the codes that the president relied on, okay, in 2001. But see, the declaration declared in 2001, wait a minute, superseding legislation. Hold on. Barack Obama, prior to continuation of the national emergency declared by, look at that, were contained in the following. Again, like I told you, every year they renew the so-called emergency. You don't believe me? I told you I don't speak off the side of my neck. 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, all the way to 2018. Okay? It's just not included in this section, but each president renews the national emergency yearly. See, I am continuing for 1 year the national emergency as previously declared September 14, 2001. They do this every single year. Now, this is only regarding the future national emergency. This is not regarding the national emergency declared in 1933. That one was declared by Congress by the Act of March 9, 1933. The emergencies declared by the president since then was terminated, and Congress said that they are only to remain in effect for a year. The one in 1933 had no expiration date. And in 1976, they were supposed to give it an expiration date and chose not to. Okay, I am looking for that section now, and I already know that it exists because we've been able to prove by other websites from other quotations that it exists, that it's still extant, and the Supreme Court showing it's still extant. I am looking for that specific language is now, and I am going to find it, but I don't want to waste you all's time. But this is, if I'm doing the research, this is how I look for the information. So what I need is termination methods. Any national emergency declared by the president in accordance with this subject shall terminate, and it's going to let you know a year. There is an enactment of law, a joint resolution terminating the emergency, or the president issues a proclamation terminating the emergency. There has been no resolution by Congress, joint or otherwise, terminating the resolution in 1933, and there has been no termination by the president of the resolution in 1933. No action taken proceeding to blah, 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 that's all that other junk we saw. Terminating a national emergency no later than 6 months after the national emergency is declared, no later than the end of each 6-month period thereafter that such emergency continues. Each Congress shall meet to consider a vote on a joint resolution to determine whether the emergency shall be terminated. That's any emergency that has been continued after that. Okay, joint resolution referral. Don't care about your referrals. And none of this talks about the existence of the continuing joint emergencies. So we're going to find that in the notes, but I need to find that actual section that they refer to. Yeah, see, this is a different section B, and I'm looking for the. Okay, not what I'm looking for just yet, but hold on. And see, that's the other thing. I don't think I think it's 41, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know. So let's go back to that other, before I start guessing and taking us off on a tirade of being upset. See, it doesn't give me the section. So let me do this. Let's do this. We're going to look up this section. There's no need for me to be sitting up here wasting your time and mine. So give me the reason. I'm going to put you all on pause while I find it. Oh, look at that. 1651, the last one. All right. The provisions of this chapter is 1651. Look, I didn't have to put you guys on hold. Now you see how I find what I need. It took me all that, but look at what we learned. Look at how we went through every other part of the code to prove the point that they gave the authority, and this is the final nail in the coffin for the morons, so that you'll know that the Emergency Banking Act still exists. I'm sorry, he did some all right things. Now, this is Tevin Campbell singing one song, and this is when the moron could sing. Yeah, Tevin Campbell's made a lot of stupid mistakes, and right now he's just, I don't know, don't have no real respect for him right now. But this song right here, this is a song. I like this song. It's called One Song, and he sang 2 songs when he was a youngster that got everybody's attention when he was with the idiot moron punk Quincy Jones, who is old and feeble and telling everybody else's secrets but his own. He did one song in Tomorrow. This came out after Tomorrow. Imagine what tomorrow. You understand? That's why he's mentioning tomorrow in this song, talking about the first song, Tomorrow. One song. All right. Please understand, each committee of the House of Representatives and the Senate having jurisdiction with respect to the provision of law referred to in subsection A of this section shall make, nope, that's not the section. I'm looking for section B. And you all saw the subsection B that everybody keeps talking about, but I don't see the subsection B. Where is the subsection B? I think but it can't be this. All right, I'm going to click on that because, yeah, see, we get federal lending agencies and all that stuff, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for other laws, and the provisions of this chapter shall not apply to the following provisions of law and authorities conferred thereby and actions taken thereunder, repealed, and it says, which reads as follows, section 5B. I don't see that. So let's go back. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm talking too much about that idiot Quincy and this moron here, Tevin, and I missed it. I don't see that under A. I don't see that under A. So where are they getting that from? No. Pay attention, everyone. This is me. Like I said, I don't take no one's word for anything. If I had not read the part from the attorney and the other references, okay, let's go. Whoa, this is the website that quotes the Supreme Court cases. Interesting. Look at that. U.S. Code, Title 51, Chapter 34, Section 1651. So is it Cornell law that's the problem? Because this is not from no stupid so-called sovereign website or anything. It's the reference text. Hold on. I'm looking for that section. Okay, we got to go up. Imagine what tomorrow would bring. Where is the that talks about the act? I don't see the act of October 5th and 6th. I mean, the October 6th act of, yeah, if we all say, yeah. Yeah, I'm joking right now because I'm looking and I don't see it. But I want you all to pay attention to something. This is the Google highlighting it. Pay attention. It says the provisions of this chapter shall not apply to the following provisions of law and the powers. And again, which reads this section right here. Where is that? Because maybe I'm the fool, but I don't see that on that page. So I'll do it again because it says one. And so that's where I'm probably going wrong. And this is what happens when I'm tired. My mind, hey, my eyes will see it on the page and I look right past it. But I see one there, but I don't see what is there on that page. So, oh no, I can't stand this song. Can't stand that song. And Usher, I done heard the only one way too many times. And in the rain, I ain't in the mood for it. But I can do Tina Marie. A lot of people don't know this song by Tina Marie, but it's called Out on a Limb. Now, I want all of you to know that I am looking for the section that says one, and I don't see it. And I am looking for anything that refers to that October Act, but again, I don't see it. And I know you guys are going, it's right there, but I don't know what y'all right there and about because I don't see it. And I mean, I honestly can't see, but it shows it right here in the catch. And I don't see that section of provision. Oh, I'm looking for one. It's under A, but I still didn't see it under A. Then I see one here, but I still didn't see it under A and one. But it's just what you see. That's what's wrong. Because pay attention, the part that we're highlighting is not there. Okay, and as I pointed out to everybody, I don't think that this website would be wrong. Okay, and what do I mean by that this website will be wrong? Let me show you why I know that this is not the correct quote in the Google page. Because the act of March 9th, 1933 had nothing to do with A. It had everything to do with B. But as you notice, when we go here, we don't see nothing about that. Now this, again, this is .gov. So let's see if we can pull it up here. Okay, do you see anything about October 6, 1917? Because I know I don't. And let's do this, so make sure I'm not out of my mind sitting up here looking for things that ain't even there. I just put in there October. Okay, and there we go. Okay, hold on. Public Law 95 struck out paragraph 1, which read Section 5B of the Act of October 6. Okay, they did, it says amendments. So it said Public Law struck out paragraph 1. Okay, this one struck out paragraph 8. And of course, they would have to get rid of A because it had nothing to do with A. And I believe that that's only one October in this thing. Let's see if there's another one. Nope, only one October. So that's where it was. And it says it struck out when it read that. Okay. But according to the Supreme Court and according to the attorney, the act is still in effect. So that much I knew. It's just this particular paragraph. I wasn't going by this paragraph because this paragraph wasn't the paragraph that brought the point up. So watch this. And I don't have the time to go and look for that Supreme Court information that talks about the act still being in extant. But let's see. With respect to the powers of the president, war emergency, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives, United States, that's supposed to be America, and Congress assembled. Let's do. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, I'm using the same web browser. That's why. Okay, got to get out of this web browser. This web browser is not nice. It don't like me. It don't like me using my wonderful program that allows me to be everywhere as opposed to onewhere. International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Okay. And then you got NAFTA. What is the North? No, not the Treaty Act, but the North American, the Defense of America Act, the ADA, the National NADA, National Defense of America Act. Okay, so you have that, and you have this, and it mentions Title II of. So it mentions this act in there. Do I want to go there, or do I want to go here? Let me pull this first. It don't want me to get the PDF, so I guess I'm gonna have to get it from this one. The same as I pulled this. Let's go ahead and open up a new one. Tell them, Tina, and don't let them get away with it. Sorry, people, this is what happens when it's research time. As tired as I am, we're at 43 minutes. But no, I don't want to. Okay. This is Microsoft Edge. Uh-oh, look at that. It says no. Well, what happens is the government websites don't like the VPNs. And so they have the little guards there. That's how good that woman could and can sing. This is Wikipedia. The president to regulate foreign economic transactions. If only people knew how the United States controls the world economy and the economy of foreign governments. Remember, all of their economies is based on the world default currency, which is the United States dollars. So, hey, amends the Trading with the Enemy Act. Okay, what amends the Trading with the Enemy Act? This is the 95th Congress. This is 1977. To repeal authority of the president to regulate economic transactions with foreign countries and nationals. Oh, look at that. Or nationals except in time of war. Permits non-war emergency regulation in effect as of July 1st, 1977 to continue for 2 years after the enactment of the National Emergency Act unless the president determines that continuation of such regulations is in the national interest. Of course, he said it was in the national interest. Repeals the exemption of transactions in gold and silver from application of such act. Trading with Enemies Act of repeal the authority of the president to take discretionary measures for the enforcement of wartime authority under such act. Increase the penalties of violations of the Trading with the Enemies Act. International blah 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 amendment, but this is not what I'm looking for. But again, this lets you know that it is still extant, that it's still going on. They didn't repeal anything. They even said here that the president, it will continue unless the president determines that continuation of such regulation is in the national interest. Okay, they still leave it upon the president to make such determination. Okay, so this, it is Wikipedia. Wait, hold on. Public law. Uh-oh. Does not have the text. Then why did you have a link, you ignorant? It's Wikipedia. Oh, then it was 222. We were looking for 223. We can't find that one. It's not going to be there. So, and I don't really need this. I just needed something that talked about the war powers. We found that. And so happy, happy, joy, joy. See, that's what Stevie's talking about, y'all. Joy. Okay, so that's the only reason why I was looking it up, because it says this struck down the paragraph, but I'm having a problem because it could not have struck it down because we just read it. Oh, that it said, okay, section, okay, which read section 5B of the Act of October 6, 2017 as amended. Because this was incorrect. This was not the amendment. The amendment was section B. So, okay, I can see why it would do something like that, but I just gotta pull up because I'm looking here, 77 subsection A. It doesn't make any sense because it's letting us know that they struck out a paragraph, but it doesn't let us know that that paragraph didn't apply. So something ain't correct. So watch this do something different. Was the 3rd of September, the day I'll always remember. That was the day. It was actually the 4th of July, 1983, that my father last spoke to me. It was the 5th of July, 1983, was the last day my father died. Remember the day because the day before was the day he told everybody it was the happiest day of his life. He and I being around each other. So at least he had that day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're putting in again, research. I'm looking for the word extant. I don't care about anything else. Okay? I don't care about March 9, 1933. I'm looking for still extant. Okay. See, presidential emergency powers, so-called war powers. Now, let's go ahead. This was an attorney who put this together. He was trying to talk about, pay attention, report for Congress received through CRS Webb, Presidential Emergency Powers, the so-called War Powers Act of 1933. They called it the so-called War Powers Act because he says that the so-called sovereign citizens and patriot movement groups were sitting up there claiming that this stuff was war powers, and it was Congress who spoke of it as being war powers in 1973. Okay, so you see, legislation amended the Trading with the Enemies Act of 1917 in order to give legal underpinning to the president in his efforts to cope with the banking crisis. It was a bankruptcy. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. A banking emergency is a bankruptcy, emergency. So banking emergency and the bankruptcy. All right, now let's want to make sure that we do this right so we don't have to go looking through the whole document. Normally I would, but I'm way past my bedtime. Pay attention to what's being said. By the Senate. The Senate Special Committee had found that not only President Roosevelt's 1933 proclamations of a national emergency, but also the proclamations of President Truman and two by Nixon were still extant. Technically, the National Emergency Act did not repeal or terminate these four declarations of national emergencies, but with the exception as noted below, this section of the act did render them hollow shells. So technically, the National Emergency Act did not repeal or terminate these four declarations of national emergencies. They were still extant. This was my research. As you know, this is what made me bring this information to you all's attention in the first instance. It's because they said they were still extant. Okay? And that's why I told you, the Act of March 9, 1933 was 95B, not 95A. So, of course, they would take out this part that said 95A and says conferred by subsection B of Section 5 of the Act of October 6, 1917 as amended and are hereby approved and confirmed. Okay? Then it talks about the Act of March 9, 1933, proclamations, 2040, and then it gives you the stat. That's the proclamation by Roosevelt. Now we need to find out a part about being extant. Okay, so hold on 1 second and we're done. We would have done everything we were supposed to do in proving that this junk still exists. Oh, we don't get a reference note. We got 12. It don't give it to me. And 12 refers to this. Hey, mama. Papa wasn't much on thinking, chasing women, and chasing them women. Sorry, my father didn't do that, so I got to give him some credit. The act provided that any standby emergency authority provided to the president by statute, the Senate committee found 470 such statutes, could be activated in the future only by a new presidential declaration of national emergency that was transmitted to Congress and published in the Federal Registry. The act required that in any future declaration of national emergency, the president could only do standby. Excuse me, hold on. There is nothing that said, pay attention. It says the act provided that any standby emergency authority provided to the president by statute, the Senate Special Committee had found 470 such statutes, could be activated in the future only by a new presidential declaration of national emergency that was transmitted to Congress and published in the Federal Registry. Excuse me? That those 470 provisions that were in effect at that time, but wait a minute, those 470 provisions were enacted as a result of that's called the forbidden fruit theory. Do you guys know what the forbidden fruit theory is? It's whatever took place in the first caused the second. So in other words, they could not have gotten rid of it. If you hadn't terminated the act in the first place, those 470 provisions are still in effect because you hadn't terminated that which caused it in the first place. Okay, that is, a declaration of national emergency would no longer automatically activate all of the standby authorities of the special committee had identified. Excuse me, they were already activated. Hold on. This idiot right here, this is an attorney talking, ladies and gentlemen. This attorney is saying that based on his knowledge and his understanding that Congress was saying that the acts, those 470 provisions, no longer were activated. Hold on. just need to do this because he's so stupid and ignorant at the same time. How can you be stupid and ignorant at the same time? Since March 9, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency. These proclamations give force to 470 provisions of federal law. These hundreds of statutes delegate the president extraordinary powers exercised by Congress, which affect the lives of Americans in all-encompassing matters. These vast range of powers taken together confer enough authority to rule this country without reference to normal congressional process. This was still existing, and since they found that the March 9, 1933 Act was still extant, these 470 provisions of federal laws still are extant. If they weren't, they would have repealed the 470 provisions. Those 400 federal laws were laws enacted by Congress. The president can't enact law. So these 470 laws were enacted by Congress. If these 470 laws did not exist anymore, they would have been repealed. Each and every one of them would have had to have been repealed because they were enacted by Congress, which means each one of them were enacted as a result of a congressional act. There is a procedure for getting rid of it, and you don't just do it by creating a new law. Okay? But again, most people don't know this, and thus, because they don't know this, they will tend to go by whatever they read, such as reading something from an idiot such as this one, saying that because the president, and because of this, and because of that. No, where is the act where they say it doesn't exist anymore? Okay, hold on. The one initial exception to the foregoing framework for national emergencies concerned the Trading with the Enemies Act. As first adopted in 1976, the National Emergency Act excluded from its purview Section 5B of the Trading with the Enemies Act. As noted above, that is a provision of law under which the president issued his declaration of national emergency with respect to the banking crisis. But with the advent of the Cold War, that section has also been used to execute by the executive branch as a legal basis for imposing economic sanction on the communist nation of North Korea, Cuba, China, the North Vietnamese, and at the time of National Emergency Act was enacted, there was no other legal basis for continuing sanctions against those countries. As a consequence, the State Department asked that Section 5B be excluded from the National Emergency Act until other legislation providing a basis for the continuation of economic sanctions against those countries could be enacted. It has never happened. It has never happened. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the other junk that this idiot said, don't pay attention to. What you want to pay attention to, where's my mouse, is this section right here. Because this lets you know that the March 9, 1933 Act, which is Section 5B, because that's all March 9, 1933 covers, gangster's paradise. We're getting gangster because we need to, because these idiots want to twist things up. So here is why Section 5B was removed. Okay, when we read that it was removed, now we know the reason why they removed it. That's why this is saying this, but it didn't word it correctly. Okay, now it says, I want you to understand, the provisions do not apply to the March 9, 1933 Act. Now remember, we're dealing with Section 5B, so let's find out what Section 5B says. Anybody want to know what Section 5B says? Well, here's Section 5B, y'all, in this act. In Act of March 9, 1933, it states in Title 1, Section 1 that the actions, regulations, blah, blah, blah. This is Section 5B of the Act of October 6, 1933, as amended and are hereby approved and confirmed. Pay attention. The Act of March 9, 1933 is still in effect because the president said that he needed to do economic sanctions on these other countries. That's why they had them amended. No, what they were doing is continuing the national emergency. Sorry, everybody. When I need to prove a point, this is how I get. This is how I will do research. This is how I will explain. Get out of my face with that bull crap talking about it doesn't exist. They did not include the act of March 9, 1933 in the so-called National Emergency, National Emergencies Act. They did not include the act of March 9, 1933. The act of March 9, 1933, you keep hearing me say the act of March 9, 1933. That's the issue. But hold on, wait a minute. Let me put some, hold on, y'all. I got to show y'all something. Not this. Where's that document that young lady sent us? It says the young man, Almond, sent us, since March 9, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency. And we just found out that declared national emergency still exists because Congress did not get rid of it with the National Emergency Act. Do you guys not see what's going on? They did all of this junk as a smokescreen. Pay attention so that you get it. There was no legal basis for continuing the sanctions against those countries. So as a consequence, the State Department asked the Congress that Section 5B be excluded from the National Emergency Act until further legislation providing a basis for the continuing of economic sanctions against those countries could be enacted. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Y'all ain't even seeing where I'm going, because you can't see where I'm going because you don't know me well enough to understand where I'm going. Want y'all to go on up here. I need to find out something. Do you see this right here? This idiot right here? Okay, you don't see him riding any further. This was done in 1976. No, when was this done? When does he write this, y'all? Do we have a date? I think this was done after 76, but I can't tell you after 76. I know it was done well after 1973, but I'm looking for a date. Do y'all see a date on this junk? I don't see a date. I'm looking for a date. That's where I'm going. I'm going when he wrote this junk. But we do know, oh, look at that. We do know it was written after 1977. So does anybody know of Congress writing a new law that puts sanctions on those countries such as Cuba? Has there been a new law imposing new sanctions on Cuba, or are they not relying on the old sanctions that were placed on Cuba? See? What about the old sanctions? They're putting new sanctions on North Korea, but have they ever lifted the old ones? So here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now you understand that they haven't done anything new. There's been no new provisions. See, the provisions allowed sanction regimes against Cuba, North Korea, China, and North Vietnam to continue without the president having to declare a new national emergency under the IEEPA. This is your response to anybody saying that the emergency doesn't still exist. Look, Congress did provide for the continuation of any economic sanctions, continuing of the national emergency that were a result of the president's declaration of national emergency that were in effect as of July 1st, 1977. Okay? It continues. The Act of March 9, 1933 continues. But they went through all of this junk, and look, pay attention, we have a date here of 1982. So that means that even as far as 1982, this stuff was still in effect. So it has not changed. And remember, if this idiot is putting 1982, that means this was done in 1982, 1977, 1982. How many years is that, people? So that means that even 5 years later, Congress had not created new sanctions, because if they did, this idiot would have highlighted those new sanctions, and he did not. Okay? That is to let you know that we are still in a national emergency. As I told one person, because he's in court and he's representing himself and he's before the judge, and he's done something because he's been asking me for help in that case in representing himself, and he's never represented himself before or represented anybody in court. This is his first time. He's actually doing an okay job now. I did the best I could by telling him he cannot do so-called cramming and researching and preparing for the test at the last minute, that he can't be nervous, that he has to deal with the jury because the jury doesn't know what's going on. And the first thing he told the jury was that the judge is going to keep interrupting me because they're trying to make me look like I don't know what I'm doing. And he said the prosecution is going to interrupt me and they're going to keep doing this. Okay. And then the prosecution calls witnesses and he says, oh no, I'm reserving any cross-examination for a later time. The judge says, well, that's, haven't had that happen before. Looks like that's a legal question, and so I have to take that under advisement, and then they don't know what to do because he told them he was reserving his cross-examination. Ladies and gentlemen, attorneys reserve cross-examination of witnesses all the time. It is something that's permissible. They just didn't expect him to do it or him to know about that. I told him that's what he's to do. Why? Because he can cross-examine based on all the other information he gets, and he doesn't have to cross-examine a person based on the information he just got, but he can now put all that information together and now bring his cross-examination. This is what I do. As I told him, and I would tell that judge to her face, they cannot handle me. This is not a challenge. This is a fact. Again, that appeal is going on 3 years. Why is it going on 3 years and 3 months? Ladies and gentlemen, well, it's 3 months, 3 years and 1.5 months right now, but it will be 3 years and 6 months in a moment. The reason why they can't handle me on that appeal is because they can't rule against me, because I raised all of the points I was supposed to raise. They can't say my appeal is frivolous, my appeal is unwarranted. No, 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 no. I highlighted all the things they couldn't do, including no evidentiary hearing. And the law only requires that I request an evidentiary hearing, and I did it on more than one occasion. So they have a problem. Can't do a retrial. I would love to have a retrial because I would have some fun. I would rip this stupid system apart. But that's not what we're here for. That's not what I'm here for. They know the only way that case is going to go away. They shouldn't have messed with me. I told them I was going to rip them apart from the inside, which is why they kicked me out. I ain't done. All right. Once again, as I showed you and just proved to you, that's the only reason why this video has gone on this long. If you can't hear the strain in my voice about me being this tired, is simply because I had to prove to you that this junk was still going on. Oh, and by the way, you see this right here. They called it the so-called War Powers Act. Congress, throughout the entire thing, they're the one who calls it. Well, hold on, I want to do this. Let's. Okay. I don't want that war powers because that's not the one we're looking for. Oh, it only has one. Interesting. Then that means they didn't quote Congress. Dag nabbit. I don't have time to be pulling up that other document. I don't have the other document up here. Let's see. This is Johnny Gill, Patti LaBelle, and Gladys Knight. I think this was a Luther Vandross tribute. No, I don't have the U.S. document. I apologize to you guys. I should have had that document. I apologize, everybody. But it's the actual document where the Senate is talking about the dollar bills and where they literally refer to it as war powers. They refer to the act as war powers. And they referred to it as War Powers Act back in 1933. Okay, that's just so that you guys know. We're going to go ahead and cut that and make that the last song. But this is just so everybody knows that we want to go after that act as being unconstitutional. And the fact that it still exists after Congress said it was unconstitutional makes everything that has come about as a result of that act unconstitutional. We need to challenge that act as unconstitutional. We need to use Congress's own words in expressing that the act is unconstitutional. We didn't say it was unconstitutional. They said these proclamations gave forth the 470 provisions of federal laws, these hundreds of statutes delegated to the president extraordinary powers ordinarily exercised by Congress. How can Congress give their ordinary power to the president? Okay, Congress cannot, pay attention, Congress cannot confer its authority to the president. And by the way, no one branch of government may rule this country. This country is set up to be ruled by three branches of government together, not separately. This is not a dictatorship, according to them. Okay? So we all need to start challenging the March 9, 1933 Act. Why? Because everybody's losing their homes because of the laws that were set up as a result of the March 9, 1933 Act, where the president took control of people's property. Remember, it was Congress who said that the president may seize. Pay attention. I didn't say this. Okay? Pay attention. It was under this act that it said that the president may seize control of your property. This is how we know that they own all property in the United States. So what's the bank doing putting a lien on your property? They're putting a lien on the property of the United States of America. See, it says under the powers delegated by these statutes, the president may seize property. Well, he didn't may, he did. Because he had to pay those debts. Now look, it was an emergency. Why did he need to seize the property? And why did that property need to continue to be seized all the way up until this time? You all need to pay attention to what's going on. Again, this is the extent of which I go to show you guys what's going on and how the fact is everybody should be seeing this. It's been there the whole time. It was Congress who said this. That's why I'm appreciative of the individuals and to the individuals who provided this for me, Miss Susan and Mr. Aman Bey. Okay, and here is the document. I can't tell you where to find it, ladies and gentlemen. I can only show you this down here. Okay, let's highlight that and let's zoom. Zoom. All I want to do is zoom, boom, and a boom, boom, boom. Anyway, that's a stupid song. All right, you see this right here? I can't tell you where to find it. I don't know where the individual found it. I just know that that's it. That's this document where it actually says that. Okay, so no, you don't have to get it from Congress anymore. You don't have to get that from Congress anymore. What you do have to do, and we're going to do this again, those of you who have been following on this video, and I advise you to, you ain't got to, but I do advise it, we can go back here. Pay attention to what I did so that you can see. We need the still extant. Remember, I put in still extant, right? We need the one about war powers. So the way for you to find it, Presidential Emergency Powers, the so-called War Powers Act, okay? This is what you want. You want to go to this article here, and you want to go to the bottom of that article, and you want to pull that section where it talks about how they didn't get rid, see? Have authority over us, and the Constitution is still valid and upheld. No, the Constitution is not still valid, is not upheld. This is what they're claiming. The March 9, 1933 Act got rid of the so-called Constitution. And this is where you say that that act was unconstitutional. If that act is unconstitutional, that means that nobody lost their constitutional rights. Pay attention to what I've been trying to tell you. If you can highlight that Congress has said the act is unconstitutional, and you raise the federal questions that I brought to you on the last video that I told you about the federal question needing your help. You raise those federal questions, those of you who are legally wise, not none of you junior wannabe legally wise people. I'm talking about the people who actually know law, the Rod Classes, the Jonah Bays, okay? Come on, why can't I ever think of his name when I'm thinking about him? A young man that I've gained a lot of respect for, and I am upset with myself. Dang it. Yusuf El Bey. Don't know why I keep forgetting his name, because I do have respect for Mr. Yusuf El Bey. It's individuals like that that I'm talking to, individuals who know how to put together legal papers. Bring the federal question in your jurisdiction, in the federal court, in the appeals court, the Circuit Court of Appeals, and ask about that particular act. If Congress has enacted the March 9, 1933 Act, and if Congress, you first have to ask, does Congress have the authority? You have to ask the question, does Congress have the authority to delegate its powers to another branch of government? That's your first question, because the Supreme Court has already responded to that question with the you sounding no. Not even under one circumstance has the Supreme Court said that it was permitted, including an emergency. That's why Congress needed to enact the act in order for the president's declaration to be carried over. Okay, got that. Understand, that's your first question. Did they have the authority? Do they have the authority? Can they delegate their power to another branch of government? The second question is, well, in enacting the March 9, 1933 Act, did Congress? Well, no, you just want to, you can ask, did Congress overstep their authority, or did Congress, in enacting that act, delegate its authority? You want to ask, did Congress delegate its authority to the President of the United States? Of course, the court's going to respond and say, no, it didn't. Then you want to say, because according to Congress, that's exactly what they did. That they did the unconstitutional and the unconscionable. See, unconstitutional and the unconscionable. See how I'm using those two words right there? Okay, that's what I do when I'm writing motion. Anyway, and say, I hereby, before this body, on behalf of the United States of America, because you want to come in on behalf of the United States of America, challenge this act, and you want to send a copy of that federal question to the Attorney General's office. Because if you challenge an act as unconstitutional, you must notify the Attorney General. Yes, these are things I know. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Valerie and Lori, I need you guys to give me a call. I forgot your number. I don't have your number anymore. So Valerie and Lori, you know who you are. If you're Valerie and Lori and you and I don't have a relationship and you don't live in Michigan, okay, don't call me. But Valerie and Lori, you got my number. Give me a call. I need to talk to you guys. I haven't spoken to you in a while, and I'm not as busy. And I hope, Valerie, this ain't you, but this looks like you. No, this ain't you. This is somebody else. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go take a break because I need a break. It's a long day, and I really have to get some things done tomorrow. And this week is going to be a long week, and I got tons of people trying to get in contact with me, and I just don't have the time, people. I really don't have the time. I was supposed to be relaxing today, and what am I doing? Spending the time talking to all of you on video. So I gotta go, turn the music off already, and I'm still talking. Have a good evening, everybody. I do hope you now understand. I do hope you see the research that's been done and the help that people have provided. And I do hope you understand that this was not done because I ain't got nothing better to do. Maybe you won't.